Hello, can you hear me? Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Hello, and welcome to Atomic Movie Reviews Film Society. I am your host, Atomicon Rex. Here we discuss films that have a narrative background in aliens, ghosts, robots, and creatures. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Well, I did it, guys. I went to go see the G-Man, Godzilla Minus One. I wasn't going to see it just because to me it's a summer movie. It's a March thing, and I felt that they were trying to undercut the MonsterVerse Godzilla movie that's coming out in March or next year, whenever it comes out. But I guess that's not what it is. I guess Toho Studios has a thing where they're only allowed to produce a Godzilla movie every 5 years or something like that. So I guess it's like a traditional thing. Like they're always going to be producing Godzilla movies until the end of time. So it has nothing to do with the American version of the MonsterVerse. All right, so let's just jump into it. What are some of the plot and narrative predictions? I didn't really have one coming into this one. I just knew I wanted to see it. Um, when I look forward to watching a Godzilla movie, it's all about the atomic breath and how he destroys the city and how they defeat him. Like I think that's what I go looking for. But I didn't have any real predictions going into this one. What genre is it? It's a fantasy war movie. It's more of a war movie than anything else. Like you're dealing with PST, post traumatic stress disorder, the aftermath of war, how the citizens see war, and how it affects just the regular people, not just the soldiers, but the citizen as well. So I thought it was pretty interesting. It's a war movie with Godzilla in it, basically, where the MonsterVerse is strictly fantasy, with the Hollow Earth and all the different kaiju. This one's more grounded. Cinematography. It's colored, but the colors are mute, and I think it's like muted that way, so you can't really tell the difference into the CGI. It's being a Godzilla movie. There's gonna be plenty of CGI. What was the original work? This one is based on the 1950s Godzilla movie, where he's a monster. He's not a protector of Earth. He doesn't care about mankind. He's not trying to restore the balance. This thing it's a monster, a true kaiju. So they went back to the basics on this one. Set design. It was a mixture of practical effects and CGI. There was a lot of practical effects, and it's based in the 1950s, so you don't have to really throw a lot at it. And it's Japan, so like the whole culture is based on wood. Like all of their buildings are based on wood anyway. So there's like just this natural element to the Japanese culture. So it was really easy. The set design wasn't too bad. There was CGI, like when the tanks come out and start battling Godzilla and everything. And you could tell that there's CGI, but because of the muted filter that they placed over it, it wasn't too bad. Like in the Shin Godzilla, I think like the tanks and stuff were little modeled cars. And so it gave more of a realistic effect to it, but this one was still pretty solid. Characters. So I don't know how to. Oh, okay, wait, no, I'm skipping. Let's go back. So TV tropes and plot conventions that I noticed in the film. Just the consequences of war, and what people have to deal with, whether you're a soldier or just part of the citizenship, and the aftermath of war and how people deal with that and overcome it. Okay, it was really interesting because one part through the movie where this guy, the soldier, he returns to home and his home has been bombed. His whole city has been bombed, and so but it's his home, so he stays there. So he looks kind of homeless, but it's his home, but his home has been bombed out. So after a couple of years, he ends up rebuilding the home. And it was just, I never saw that. That has never really been depicted like in a movie, like having to rebuild the structure that was bombed. I don't know if I've ever actually even came across that in a movie. It was really interesting. This is a really good movie. Um, Hold on, my screen went dead. Okay. So characters in the film: hero, villain, damsel in distress, psychic, weapons, mode of transportation, and locality. Okay, so I don't know their names because they're Japanese, so I'm not even going to try to butcher them. But the main hero of the story isn't a hero. He's a kamikaze pilot who doesn't do his kamikaze shit. And so he cowards out, and then he cowards out again when Godzilla shows up. So he's just like racked with guilt. And so he kind of has to deliver in the final scene. He has to kind of like, his goal is to what's the word? Not reinvent himself, but um, try to find dignity in his shameful actions during World War II, basically. The villain is definitely Godzilla. But it's not, he's just a monster straight out of the ocean. He doesn't have any, I don't think there's like a consciousness behind there, like a reason why he's doing what he's doing. He's just Black Swan that came out of nowhere and is laying waste to Japan. The damsel in distress, the dude's girlfriend, well, the love interest in the movie, my God, she was great. Jeez, she was great. Like the acting in this was superb. The sidekick, there's a couple of different sidekicks because they have to band together to take down Godzilla. But the main sidekick is the guy who like fixes his plane. And he played a really good part. Like if it wasn't for him pushing this guy, I don't think they would have been able to defeat Godzilla. Weapons. Well, it's based in the 1940s and 1950s, so they're very conventional machine guns. They had sea mines that they were trying to take Godzilla down with, and a Navy battleship showed up. When the Navy battleship showed up, it really got interesting then. Motor transportation, most of it's in planes, on boats, and there's a train scene. Locality, it's all based in Japan. There's a lot of sea scenes in this film compared to other ones, where Godzilla is always, you see Godzilla coming out of the ocean and touching on land, and that's really where the battle takes place. But in this movie, a lot of the battles take place in the ocean, and you got to see how formidable Godzilla really is. I think he was more frightening in the ocean instead when he came onto land, because when he was in the ocean, it kind of had like an iceberg effect where you only saw his fins and he was kind of swimming through the ocean like Jaws, right? But you knew underneath was something massive and powerful. You're going to be in deep shit. Number 8, acting. Did the actors seem believable? Acting was perfect. Everybody brought their A game. I was convinced. One thing about this movie, it is in Japanese, so you do have to read the subtitles. You don't have to read the subtitles. You don't have to read the subtitles. You can just sit back and just watch this movie. You know what's going on. The actors knocked this bad boy out the park. What was the cultural impact of the movie? Did it break any new ground? Yeah, in the sense that it's showing Hollywood that you don't need $100 million to make a good movie. You can make a good movie with $10 million. As long as you got a good story and dedicated actors and you're not overworking your CGI department, you can make a good, decent movie. Besides that, it didn't really break any new ground. Like his atomic fire was different in this one. But if I'm going to compare it to another movie like Shin Godzilla's atomic fire is still more frightening. But this one was very powerful, especially upon impact. Oh my God. Yeah. So rating system. This is theater worthy. Like you got to see this on a big screen, and then when you see it on the big screen, just order it on Blu-ray. Don't even bother with the streaming shit. Like you own this movie. This is the movie you buy. You don't let no gatekeeper give you access to this movie. You go out to Amazon, Walmart, Target, wherever you shop, and you get this movie. You buy this movie. So summary recommendations. It's its own movie. Like it's inspired by the 1950s original Godzilla, but it's its own thing. Kind of like Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was his own thing. It's not part of the MonsterVerse. It may be a sequel to it. The way it ended, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a sequel or something along those lines. But it was great, you know. And I'm not pretty sure actually, because there should have been a sequel to Shin Godzilla, but they're only allowed to do that, you know, once every 5 years. So there's probably not going to be a sequel actually. But it did end with a cliffhanger. It's a war movie, and it's a war movie and about the trials and tribulations a person goes through after war, and Godzilla's in it. Okay, so it's not really a Godzilla movie. Godzilla is not the main character in this movie. Acting was great, cinematography was great, everything else was great. It's theater worthy. I do recommend you watching this movie. I can't give enough praise to this movie, and I'm sure you can notice just by the podcast algorithm that this movie is really trending. So, Atomicon Rex does recommend this movie. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.